Well, friends, welcome back. So now we have discussed how to utilize various kinds of credits, CGST, SGST, IGST. These credits are available in the electronic credit ledger, in which order that can be utilized for settlement of IGST, CGST, and SGST. These points we have discussed with the help of some example. And we have also seen there are certain conditions on the base conditions for utilization of ITC. The four major conditions we have discussed right now. Can you quickly recapitulate what are these conditions? Who can tell me what are the conditions for availing ITC credit? On what basis you can take ITC? Who can tell me? First point. Yeah, some of you please tell me. Aditi, can you tell me? Aditi, please unmute. Yeah, am I audible to
Excuse
you?
me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you please repeat, sir? Your voice is cracking.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir, better.
Yeah. Now, just I'm asking, what are the conditions for availing ITC? On what basis you can avail ITC? Okay. Four conditions were discussed in our previous class. I just wanted you to tell me what are those conditions. Just try to recall. Should I help you? First condition was that there should be a tax invoice. Okay, unless there is a tax invoice, you cannot avail ITC. Who can tell me one more condition? Can you tell me? Second point is that the goods or services must have been received. That means supply must have been completed. Third thing is that the supplier must have deposited money and he must have filed return. These are the 4 points we have discussed. We will continue our discussion further. Let me share the screen with you right now. These are the conditions, right? Are you seeing it? Tax invoice, goods or services must have been received, return, that is GSTR 3 must have been filed, tax must have been paid to the government. If these conditions are complied, then ITC can be taken. ITC in detail we will be learning in one more chapter. At basic level, we should know this. Now let us understand how GST mechanism works. It works on a self-monitoring mechanism. Meaning this is a mechanism through which the supplier's data and the recipient data gets matched. If it is matching, then ITC will be available and a person and a dealer can settle his liability by utilizing ITC. Meaning when supplier is supplying something, he is filing a return. Okay, and that data is automatically reflected in GST portal. And the recipient of goods, recipient of services, or the recipient of the supply checks that thing, whether that input credit which is reflected it's correct or not. On that basis, he utilizes those credits for settling his liability. Okay, it's in fact it's a matching concept. It is self-monitored. Right? We'll see. And there are various kinds of returns filed in GST portal. A registered dealer has to, different kind of dealers are required to file different kind of return. These are the examples of the such returns I'm showing you. In return chapter, we'll be learning in detail. These returns helps in matching the input of a supplier with the, it helps in settlement of GST liability by adjusting this thing, input credit. Okay. So these returns are relevant. Various kinds of returns are there. Various due dates are there. Right now, we are not addressing this return issue. We'll be addressing it in a return chapter. Okay. Now, quickly once again, we'll see how this GSTR works. What happens? GSTR 1, which is which contains the outward supply details. This GSTR 1 is filed by the supplier, and once it is filed, it becomes visible to the recipient. Recipient can see it, right, in a particular format which is called as GSTR 2A. We'll be seeing it subsequently. These things are visible, that what are the input credits available there, and the recipient can accept it in a particular form that is called as GSTR 2, right? And then this ITC will be credited in the electronic credit ledger on a provisional basis. Additional modifications are also possible. The recipient can modify it. And when finally the monthly returns are filed in the form of GSTR 3, these credits are made available to the recipient. The recipient can use those credits, can utilize those credits for settlement of liability. And these credits will be reflected in a ledger which is called as electronic credit ledger. We will be seeing it subsequently. Okay, the final acceptance of ITC will be communicated in a particular form. That form is called as GST MIS 1. This form communicates that how much of ITC is utilized for settlement of GST liability. Let us take an example, go through this example to understand the process. Okay, we need to read this example. Example is like this. Suppose there is a car manufacturer who purchased 30 tons of steel from a steel supplier. The steel supplier supplied steel and issued a tax invoice. Let us assume on 5th July he issued a tax invoice for how much? For certain amount. In that amount, the GST amount is rupees 2,40,000. It might be CGST plus SGST, it might be IGST also, we don't know. So what is the GST amount? What's the GST amount? Who can tell me? GST amount?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sir, it's 2,40,000.
2,40,000 is the GST amount. My voice is clear to you or some disturbances you are getting?
Sir, disturbances due to network fluctuations.
Okay. Is it same with all of you? Others, are you able to listen me clearly?
Same problem, sir. Same problem.
Same problem?
I'm getting disconnected again. Yes, sir.
Let
So
us
due
try.
to heavy rain, sir, no network,
Yeah,
sir.
maybe heavy rain is going outside. So let us try to manage. Otherwise, you can refer to the recorded videos. Okay, let us try to understand this thing. Let us say in the GST tax invoice, there is a GST item of GST amount of 2,40,000. Right? And the supply is made on 5th July. On 5th July, the car manufacturer satisfy the condition of receiving goods. That means he has received the goods and he has received the tax invoice also. So after that, what will happen? By 10th August, let us say on 10th August, the steel supplier furnishes outward supply in a particular form that is called as GSTR 1. So steel manufacturers is supposed to file this GSTR 1. And once that is filed, from 11th August onwards, the car manufacturer can see his input credit. Provisionally, he can see what is the status of the input credit through an auto-populated form that is called as GSTR 2A. GSTR 2A will reflect the input credit which is provisionally available to the car manufacturer. From 11th day to 15th August, the car manufacturer can make additions, modifications, if any. If he finds there is something wrong, he can make it. Okay, it is assumed that there is no addition, no modification. Let us see there is no addition, no modification. Then he will submit a GSTR 2. Now, once that is submitted, now ITC of 2,40,000 will be credited to the manufacturer in the electronic credit ledger on the provisional basis. And once GSTR 3 is filed by the steel supplier, the car manufacturer will be eligible to utilize the credit of 2 lakh per meter. And the final acceptance will be made in the form of GST MIS 1. Okay, final acceptance will be made there. This is how the GST system works. Okay, are you getting me? Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Aditi?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did you understand up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, two more important concepts we'll see. That is electronic ledgers. So these are in fact e-ledgers. You can say these are something like e-passbook, which are maintained in GST portal. Right. There are other ledgers are also there, but we'll be understanding or we'll be focusing on these two ledgers. One is, what is A? Can you read it? What is point A? Which kind of ledger we are talking about? What is A?
Electronic cash
Cash
ledger.
ledger. And one more ledger is there, B. What is this?
Electronic credit ledger.
So these are the two ledgers which are available in GST portal for every registered dealer. What is GST cash ledger? Amount of GST deposited in cash to government. If you are depositing some GST amount, when you deposit, earlier I had shown you a GST payment challan. Have you remembered in initial classes I had shown you how GST is deposited? Have you remembered or I need to show you again?
Please show again.
Okay. Maybe I have to see it where it is. Yeah, you see. This is a GST deposit challan. Okay, this is how GST deposited. You see, CGST this much has been deposited, IGST this much has been deposited. Okay, SGST this much amount has been deposited. This is how, when you deposit money, it is deposited in different accounts. Okay, when you deposit something, it gets reflected. You are depositing in cash or through bank, it is reflected in electronic cash ledger. Okay, understood. So any money which is deposited in cash in a government account, deposited in electronic cash ledger. It is just like an e-wallet. What you can do in this cash ledger? You can make GST payments. GST payments made in cash or through bank is reflected in electronic cash ledger. Okay, how will making payment? After deducting your ITC, by this time you know how ITC will be deducted. You decide in which proportion you will be deducting ITC. The balance tax liability has to be paid by using your balance in electronic cash ledger. That means first you have to create a balance in electronic cash ledger, and you can pay your GST liability by using your balance in electronic cash ledger. Okay. Now question comes then, what is electronic credit ledger? Here ITCs are reflected. The balance of input tax credit is available in electronic credit ledger. Right. Eligible input tax credits are reflected in electronic cash ledger. This should be electronic credit ledger. So inputs are reflected in electronic credit ledger. Okay, credit. Cash ledger is used for payment of tax. Okay, credit ledger can be used also for payment of tax. And difference is that the credit ledger can be used for payment of tax only. That means credit ledger cannot be utilized for payment of interest, penalty, late fee, etc. ITC cannot be utilized for payment of interest, penalty, late fee, etc. ITC can be utilized. Therefore, it is said credit in electronic ledger, electronic credit ledger. Please read it as credit ledger. Credit ledger can be used only for payment of tax. Okay. Cash ledger can be used for all purposes. You can pay tax, pay interest, pay penalty through cash ledger. But credit ledger can be used only for settling your tax liability. IGST, CGST, and SGST. Is it clear to you? And this is how electronic cash ledger looks like. Okay, did you understand the concept, the difference between electronic cash ledger and credit ledger? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Credit ledger can be utilized for cash, for tax only. But cash ledger can be utilized for payment of tax as well as payment of interest, penalty, late fee, etc. Credit ledger reflects ITC. Cash ledger reflects the money deposited in cash in government's account. Okay, this is the differences. This is an example of, you see, electronic cash ledger. You see on a particular date this much of cash balance is there. That can be utilized. This is also one more example I am showing, electronic credit ledger. So on a particular date this much balance is also there. Both the things are available in GST portal. This is the detail of electronic credit ledger, which party, through which party ITC has arrived. You can have a look at these details. Okay, this is further ledger balance for a particular period. It's shown here. These kind of ledgers are maintained in this GST portal. Okay, once again we can distinguish between electronic credit ledger and cash ledger. Cash ledger, all cash deposits are credited, used for payment of tax, interest, penalty, fee. Balance amount may be refunded, but in electronic credit ledger, you see situations are different. Input credits are reflected, can be used for making payment towards tax only. Balance may be refunded only in case of exports or where rate of output is less than rate applicable on input. Only in this situation, the balance in electronic credit ledger can be refunded, otherwise refund is not possible. But electronic cash ledger balance can be refunded. These are the differences. Okay. So I'll do one thing. I'll take you right now. I think we should do one thing. Let us go for a tour to GST portal. We'll visit GST portal and let us see how to see this electronic ledgers, how it looks like. Okay, are you ready? Should we visit there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just have a look how I am doing. See what you are seeing on the screen.
Chrome, sir.
Yeah. Okay, just a minute. So you have to visit to this thing, GST portal. So you see, I'm typing www.gst. Please read it. What I have typed. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
What is that? What is the website?
So www.gst.gov.in.
Okay, so let's say we'll enter into that website. Let us see. Yeah, this is called as GST portal. Right? You see, various kind of services are available here. Are you seeing it? What are the services? You see, home. These are the various services. If I click here, registration, payments, user services, refunds, e-waybill system, all these things you will be learning. Don't worry at this stage. GST law also available here. You can refer to. Okay. So we'll not go there right now. So GST law, certain downloads, search for a taxpayer help, all these services are available. These are the most important things. We can get ourselves registered. Okay, payments are possible. Other user services, all these things are possible here. Now to enter into this website, you may not be able to enter into because you do not have any login ID and password. Okay, so I am trying with a login ID password. Let me first try my own farm's login ID. Let us see how to see it. You see, I clicked login. You see, these things are asked. What are that? First thing you see, username. Okay, so I am typing my username. Next, you have to type password. Okay, password can be typed. Then one CAPTCHA code is there. Okay, now I can click here login. Okay, are you seeing it? So if I log in, okay, you see farm's name, GSTN, all these things are available here. We'd like to see our ledgers, right? So various kinds of returns, create challan, all these services are available. So if you want to see ledgers, you see there is a link services. If I go there, you see registration, here ledgers are there. Okay. Can you see what are the ledgers? Can you read which kind of ledgers are available under ledger?
Electronic cash ledger, electronic liability register, sorry, electronic cash ledger, electronic credit ledger.
Two ledgers are available. Then one electronic liability register is there. That payment towards demand, that record is also available. So we'll be talking about two ledgers. So if I'll be making some payments, how will be making payments? You see below that there is a link, create challan. I can create a challan. Some other day I will show you how to make payment. Okay, practically I will show you how to do it. But once payment is made, maybe immediately or maybe after some time, maybe 1 or 2 days, you can, that will be reflected in electronic cash ledger. Right now, payment has, let us check if there is some balance in electronic cash ledger. If payment has been made earlier, yeah. You see, as on today is 25th August 2020. As on today, how much balance is there in electronic cash ledger? Are you able to see the ledger?
So 7,258.
Yeah. So any payment you make, suppose you make now 50,000 rupees, that will be added. Okay. Sometimes it takes some time to be reflected. Maybe in one day it will be reflected. Right. So that amount, that means this much money is available. What is the use of this money? What you can do it practically, you can do anything. You can pay your GST, you can pay interest, you can pay your penalty, or if you want, you can claim refund also, because this is just like your e-wallet. Right? Money is available, you can use it. Understood? Okay. Again, if you see electronic credit ledger, let us say I'm taking you electronic credit ledger. Here I can click to see electronic credit ledger. You see, what is the balance in electronic credit ledger as on today?
0 nil.
Zero. That means entire money, whatever is there, that has been utilized. If at all there was some credit that has been utilized. We'll see some other ledger where this thing will be available. Some credit balance will be available. Then we can see in detail how they are reflected. Got some basic idea about electronic cash ledger, electronic credit ledger. Okay, credit ledger I will be showing you once again. Let me log out first. You see how to log out. Here is the link. I can go there and I will log out. You have successfully logged out. Okay, let me try another account where there will be some balance in electronic credit ledger, so that we can understand. We'll be able to see what are the things that are reflected in electronic credit ledger. Just give me a minute. Okay, again I will go here, login. Okay, I am typing one more username. Up to this, are you understanding what we are doing? I am typing password now. Then this captcha code needs to be typed. I can log in. So you need user ID and password to enter into the GST portal. Okay. You see similar kind of thing. This is a different supplier, right? And this is their GSTN that is reflected. Let us see the electronic credit ledger. We can go to services. You see ledger. Here is electronic credit ledger. Can you see it? Are you able to see?
sir.
Yeah. If I click here, I'll be getting. Now tell me, today what is the balance in electronic credit ledger?
The 18,54,920.
Yes. This is electronic credit ledger balance. Now tell me what you can do with this balance. What you can do?
It can be used for paying tax.
Paying tax. Can you use for any other thing?
No,
No, only for tax. You cannot use it
only tax.
only for tax. You cannot use it for settling your penalty liability or interest liability. This is how it looks like. So if you want to see the detail, you see electronic credit ledger, I can click it here. Let us say we'll see ledger for a particular period. Let us see it from 1st April for current year. Let us say from April 1 till today. What is the balance till today, 25th? If I go here, I can find out detail party-wise. You see. Now you see, tell me. Okay. You see party-wise, this is what it is available. What is available? You see, this particular party, this is the reference number. IGST credit is available. And in this case, CGST and SGST credit is available. The third case, you see CGST and SGST credit is available. So this must be an interstate supply. Okay. For IGST credit is available. First case opening balance is also there. Okay. Final balance is appearing here. Okay. Are you seeing how electronic credit ledger looks like? Right. It can be printed. It can be exported to Excel. It can be saved on PDF. So one can use this electronic credit ledger. Okay. Okay, is it clear to you? Other
Yes.
things also in detail we will be seeing some other time. But right now, just I'll give you some idea. You see, payments can be made through here, through making challenge, create challenge. You can make payments. Some other day I'll show you. And just have an idea that returns. So these are various kinds of returns. Just have an idea that these are the returns. You can go to return dashboard and find out which are the returns are to be filed. Okay, so let us say for the month of March, we'll see. You see. Okay. Detail of outward supplies of goods. As I told, we are discussing now. When you are making some supply, you have to file GSTR 1. We have discussed that point. Right. And you have purchased something, you have availed some kind of supply. This is, you see, auto drafted for view only. So automatically the dealer can see that what are the supplies received by him. Then monthly return, GSTR 3 or temporarily GSTR 3B can be filed. These returns has to be filed. If you want, you can see how auto-populated things are there. This particular, let us see if there is something you can see. Here also you see if there is some B2B invoices, you can see. Okay, you see. These are the detail of the supplier. You can see in detail also, suppliers detail, you can click here. This is these are auto-populated. You see. IGST is available, so one has to accept. Got some idea now? What is GSTR 2A? Are you with me? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have seen how GSTR 2B looks, 2A looks like. You have understood this? Okay. So let us log out from this area. Okay. This is basically, we have seen how electronic cash ledger looks like, how electronic credit ledger looks like, how you can refer to, and how supplies made by others are reflected in GSTR 2A, where from you will get see uh, what are the credits available to you. All these things you have seen now. Okay, is it clear up to this? Again, we'll go for screen sharing right now. Yeah, electronic cash ledger and credit ledger we have covered. Now quickly, we'll see what is the limit for getting a person registered. How a person can register himself in the GST portal? Right now, when you entered into GST portal, you know it is asking you your login ID and login password. That is possible only when you will register yourself. The process of registration will be learning in a different class. We'll practically see how registration process works out, and that will be also another project for you. You'll be completing the registration, dummy registration process you have to complete. I'll give you that project as an assignment also. We'll be learning that. Now, in which case registration is required? Every supplier for goods or services is required to obtain registration from the state or union territory as the case may be, if the aggregate turnover exceeds a threshold limit. What is the threshold limit? For these states, MMNT, that is Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura, the threshold limit is 10 lakh. That means if the aggregate turnover exceeds rupees 10 lakh, then they have to get themselves registered mandatorily. Okay. And that in these states, Arunachal, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Puducherry, and Telangana, for these states, if their aggregate turnover exceeds 20 lakh, then they need to get themselves registered. For all other states, so here you see 4 states, here there are 6 states. Except this, for all other states, including Jammu and Kashmir, Assam, Himachal Pradesh, etc., the threshold limit is 20 lakh for services. If the aggregate value of services exceeds 20 lakh, they have to get themselves registered. And 40 lakh for goods. If goods supply in aggregate value exceeds 40 lakh, they need to get themselves registered. So in our state, for example, in the state of Odisha, so if the value of service, aggregate value of turnover from a service provider exceeds 20 lakh and the supplier of goods exceeds 40 lakh, he has to get himself registered. Right? But however, if the person is engaged in interstate supply, then mandatorily they have to get themselves registered. Okay, these limits are there exclusively for interstate supplies. Interstate supply, one has to get himself registered. Okay, and again, this is the basic idea I am giving you at this point of time. We'll be learning in detail about the registration process and the registration requirements, the documents required for registration. All these things we'll be learning subsequently. Okay, now just remember 10 lakh threshold limit in some states, 20 lakh threshold limit in some states, and 20 lakh for services and 40 lakh for goods in some states. Right? Most of the states it is 20 lakh for services and 10 lakh for goods. Is it clear up to this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, so few more concepts needs to be covered. One important concept here is UIN. Sometimes you see many places they ask for GSTN or UIN. If someone is registered with GST or he is having a GST registration number, popularly called as GSTIN, and in some cases one may have a UIN or unique identification number. Unique identification number is a special class of GST registration, and basically foreign diplomatic missions and embassies go for this kind of registrations. These are the people who can apply for UIN. Who are these people? You see, first category is the specialized agency of the UNO. So some specialized agency of United Nations organization, they can apply for this number called as UIN. Or a multilateral financial institution or organization notified by United Nations, they also can apply for UIN. Consulate or embassy of foreign countries, they can go for UIN. They need not have GSTN. And other persons or class of persons as may be notified by the commissioner. Commissioner may notify that this class of persons can have an UIN instead of GSTIN. Okay, so some cases you may find the UIN or it's a different number. You need to understand that this is a kind of special registration which is also possible under GST law. Okay, now most of the concepts we have covered up to this, and few special areas are there in GST law. Quickly we'll see those areas. First of all, there is a kind of special treatment for a product which is called as alcohol for human consumption. You know, GST is levied on all goods and services except alcoholic liquor for human consumption and petroleum crude, diesel, petrol, ATF, and natural gases. You see, these are 5 kinds of petroleum products on which GST is not levied, and GST is also not levied on alcoholic liquor which is used for human consumption. Okay, consequently, alcoholic liquor for human consumption is outside the purview of GST. The manufacturer production of alcoholic liquor continues to be subjected to state excise duty and interstate or intrastate sale. When there is an interstate or interstate sale, then central sales tax or state VAT will be leviable. If there is an interstate sale, then CST will be levied. If there is an intrastate sale, then VAT will be levied. Under production, state excise duty will be levied. So alcohol is subject to now these kind of taxes: state excise duty plus CST and CST or VAT. So alcohol is subject to these 3 kind of taxes. This aspect you have to remember. Remember, GST is not levied on alcohol. Then, as we are discussing, 5 kinds of petroleum products like petroleum crude, diesel, petrol, ATF, natural gas. These are the products on which presently GST is not levied. But it is expected that GST will be levied on these products from the date which will be notified as per recommendation of GST Council. GST Council will recommend the date from which GST will be levied on these kind of petroleum products. Till that time, GST is not levied on these products. But usual things that central excise duty is levied. Under interstate transactions, central sales tax is levied, and on intrastate sales, VAT is levied. So petroleum products are again subject to excise duty, central excise duty, plus CST or VAT. So these are the taxes instead of GST is levied on alcoholic products. Tobacco is another item. Different kind of treatment is given on GST law. GST is leviable on tobacco. Tobacco is subject to GST. But however, Union government has also retained power to levy excise duty. So tobacco is such an item on which GST is levied plus excise duty is also levied. Central excise duty is levied. So both the taxes are possible. Okay. So these are some special areas you have to remember. On tobacco, GST plus central excise levied. On alcohol, central excise plus CST or VAT is levied. Okay. Sorry, on petroleum products, uh, this thing, central excise duty plus CST and VAT is levied. And on alcohol, state excise duty plus CST and VAT is levied. Okay. And one more area is also important, that is the real estate sector. How GST is applicable to real estate sector, we'll be quickly covering this thing. GST actually is not leviable on ready to move properties for which completion certificate has been issued. Ready to move property, we'll be calling it as the RTM. We'll use the abbreviation RTM to refer to ready to move property. If the property is in a ready to move condition and the completion certificate is issued, then GST is not applicable to those kind of supply. No, I will not call it supply, because sale of building is neither treated as supply of goods nor supply of services as per Schedule 3 of CGST Act 2017. So therefore, it is not within the purview of GST law. Okay. GST is also not applicable on resale properties. Also not applicable on land purchases and sales. GST is not applicable for purchase of land and purchase of sales. However, you have to remember one thing. GST applies to residential apartments. Residential apartments in real estate projects and residential real estate projects, which are called as RRAP, and commercial apartments, which are covered under RERA. So if the project is covered under RERA, that is Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016, it may be a residential apartment, it might be a commercial apartment. For apartment supply, GST is leviable. Okay. GST is leviable, it's applicable on supply of under construction properties, works contract, etc. Okay. Only for ready to move properties, it is not applicable. On land sale, it is not applicable. But for residential apartments, commercial apartments coming under RERA, GST is applicable. Okay, this aspect one has to remember. And what is GST certificate? How it looks like? We have seen it earlier. You know, it is a PAN link number is provided. It shows state code, then PAN, then one alphabet comes by default. There is the check digit. This is how GST certificate looks like. We have seen it earlier. Okay, and in certain situations, if government is satisfied that it's necessary in the public interest to do so, it may, on the basis of recommendation of GST Council, maybe absolutely or subject to certain conditions, may exempt certain goods from GST. So certain goods may be exempted as a whole or may be exempted in part from GST. Government can do so. That power is there with the government. We have to keep that thing in mind. What is GST Common Portal? We have seen it earlier. So we have visited GST Common Portal today only. So GST Common Portal is managed by an organization called as GSTN, which is a Section 8 company which is formed. Okay, through this Common Portal, we can manage registration, payments, refund, return filing. All these things can be managed through GST Common Portal. Just have an idea. This is how GST Common Portal looks like. We have shortly visited all these things. So if you go to gst.gov.in, that is the GST Common Portal. Okay. So right now we have understood there is a CBIC site. Okay, CBIC site we have seen. Then GST portal we have also visited. And one more site is also relevant for us. You see, the site is www.ewaybill.gst.gov.in. This is one more portal. Through this portal, e-way bills can be generated. We need to have some idea about what is e-way bill. Okay, this is the website address, ewaybillgst.gov.in. You can visit to this website and find out how it looks like. This is managed by NIC, that is National Informatics Center. Okay, so what is e-way bill? This is basically an electronic document which is generated through this portal, that means through this e-way bill site. This is generated, evidencing movement of goods. When goods are moved from one place to another place, with the help of some motorized vehicle, and the value of that supply exceeds rupees 50,000, then you need to generate a e-bill, e-way bill, and that has to be accompanied with the supply. This is e-way bill system. We'll see how it looks like. For interstate movement of goods of consignment value exceeding rupees 50,000 in a motorized conveyance, it's mandatory to generate e-way bill. Okay, a registered GST payer, GST taxpayer can register in the e-way bill portal. Suppose you are having a GSTN, you are a registered person, you can register yourself in the e-way bill portal. Even unregistered persons who are moving goods, unregistered persons or transporters can also enroll in the e-way bill system by giving reference of their PAN and Aadhaar. Suppliers, recipient, transporters can generate e-way bill through electronically. They can generate this kind of e-way bill. Okay, this is the basic. This is how e-way bill looks like. Just have an idea of the format, how it looks like. Okay, then friends, few basic things. That is, after this thing, primarily most of the concepts we have covered. But still, we need to understand what is the meaning of these two basic things. What is the meaning of goods? What is the meaning of services? I have not covered. And what is the meaning of supply also? Purposefully, it has not been covered. Supplies include so many things. Why it is not covered? Because next chapter will be on supply. We'll be learning supply chapter. When we will be learning supply chapter, we'll be understanding what is the meaning of goods, what is the meaning of services, and what is the meaning of supply. But right now, just understand that GST is not leviable on sales, it is leviable on supplies. When I say supply, that means supply is also possible through stock transfer, through capital consumption, maybe supply on consignment basis, maybe on job work basis, maybe supply can be made as donation, sample supply, etc. All these things comes under the definition of the supply, and the GST is levied whenever there is a supply. For example, there is no sale, but a donation has been made. Then GST is also leviable because it is supply is made, even if sales are not there. So what is the meaning of supply? That is our next topic. Once these basic concepts are over, we are going to close the basic concepts today itself. Then supply chapter we will be learning. We'll start that chapter with the understanding of what is goods, what is service, what are services, then what is the meaning of supply. But here in this stage, one more concept we need to understand, that what is this GSTC, that is GST Council. Many times you might have heard this is the council which takes various decisions relating to GST law. So frequently they conduct meetings, GST Council meetings, decisions are taken in those meetings. The council consists of a chairperson who is the Union Finance Minister, the member of central government. So Union Minister of State in charge of revenue or finance will be the member. Then members from state government representatives are also there. And they themselves, among themselves, they choose a person to work as vice chairperson. Okay, this is the, you can say, GST Council consists of these members. The GST Council takes various decisions. They make recommendations for various kinds of taxes which needs to be merged with GST, and which are the goods or services needs to be exempted, and what should be the model tax law, how the tax collection can be distributed among center and states, what is the threshold limit for registration. Okay, so like this, many things. In what are the goods to which some special rates will be applicable, which are the areas for whom some special provisions can be made in the GST law. So these kind of decisions, these kind of recommendations are made by GST Council. Okay, and you know GST Council also has to take a decision now. Just now we are learning that with effect from which date GST will be levied on petroleum products. That decision is also not yet taken. It will be taken by GST Council. So friends, with this, almost all the concepts we wanted to cover in our basic chapter, first chapter, has been covered. We got a fair idea at a conceptual level. From here, what we'll do, we'll be moving little into technical aspect, you'll be understanding what is the meaning of supply. Then invoice related thing, okay, registration related things, all these issues in detail we'll be learning. Okay, so do you have any query up to this?
No, sir.
Okay, so you can see we have completed the basic concept chapter or the introduction chapter right now. Okay, so thank you very much for that.